Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So after 3 years, I finally have some symptoms of long COVID. Nothing serious. I've completely lost my appetite. To give you an idea, last night I finished eating at 8 p.m. I wrote some computer games. I went to sleep. It's Saturday and I'm catching up on some sleep. I haven't been sleeping well during the week. So I woke up at around 11 noon today and I had no appetite. And it wasn't just no appetite, I was stuffed. And even though it had been 17 hours since I last ate, I go to a board game meetup every Saturday, and I hardly had any desire to eat anything. And finally, I get my favorite baking chocolate, and I take a couple bites of it, and oh my God, it's like I swallowed a 3-course meal. Now, most people would call that a blessing. I know my mom certainly, right? She grappled with type 2 diabetes. I think she's pretty much in remission these days, and I remember when she was struggling with type 2 diabetes, she would often forget that she even ate anything. It would be time for dinner and my mom would be like, I went all day without eating anything. Why am I not losing weight? Meanwhile, she's nibbling on everything in sight. And I didn't want to point that out, out of respect to her. I didn't want to point that out to her, but I didn't want to see and witness all of this. It just felt horrible to watch. These days my mom doesn't do that anymore. But, even this week before I was recovering from COVID, I was telling myself I wish I could stop eating altogether. It's messy. I like writing computer games. And look how clean my computer is. It doesn't have food residue all over it. And especially, I love chocolate, but it's so messy in the summertime. I can tell you too many times when all my stuff was covered in molten chocolate, and it's just a mess. I always forget about taking the chocolate out of my car. It gets in my car. Maybe I just need to find cleaner food to eat in front of the computer. Maybe that's all there is to it. But now that I don't have an appetite, I'm going to try and enjoy other things besides eating for the time being until I make a recovery. I'm at the Desert Botanical Garden right now. My favorite eye food, if you will, right? If eyes needed to eat, right? Fortunately, I haven't lost my eye appetite, right? I don't think that would be COVID related. But I was just reading about why I feel so stuffed lately. It's called early satiating syndrome, and apparently that is a long COVID syndrome. But I'm very fortunate. That's the only syndrome I'm feeling. You don't know what you have until you lose it, really. I mean, weeks ago I would have said this would have been a blessing, but it's very lonely. I mean, it's one thing to want to eat less. It's another thing to be completely locked out of eating, right? But I'll enjoy my other... I could still smell things. Actually, at the board game meetup, I had to excuse myself because one of my opponents put on way too much of cologne, so I can still smell. I can still see and hear, obviously. I can still touch. So I'm going to try to enjoy all of that more until I recover from this. And it's not the end of the world compared to anything else that could have gone wrong this year, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum.